Okay, guys. Uh, so let's start. So Mridul and Abhishek, are you guys here?
Yes, hi, Saurabh.
Great. How are you guys?
Yeah, we are good. We are good.
Great. So okay. Welcome everyone to our TOEFL episode 3. And today we have Mridul and Abhishek here with us, who will be sharing the insights and the experience about the TOEFL exam. So let's not waste much time here. I would give the stage to Mridul here. So Mridul, please introduce yourself to the audience and let's get this thing started.
Yeah.
Floor is
So,
all yours.
hi guys. I'm Rudhu Majumdar, and I'm from India. I'll be joining Northeastern University this fall for its engineering management program, and I scored a 105 on TOEFL. And yeah, I'm interested in product management. So that's all about me.
Great, superb. And hey, hi Abhishek.
Hi, how's
So
it
yeah,
going?
please go ahead with the introduction.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, I'm Abhishek Sansanwal. I'm an incoming grad student at Cornell University, and I'm currently working as a product manager at Nutrify, which is a sustainable startup. So yeah, that's about me, and I scored 106 on TOEFL.
Superb, superb. So here we have a bit of mix of, I would say, our speakers. So Mridul has given both center-based exam and home-based edition, and Abhishek has given the center-based exam. So we will be hearing insights and their experience about both the type of formats of TOEFL exam. So Mridul, let's go ahead with you first. So let's just first hear about why study abroad and why TOEFL.
So while I was pursuing my engineering, and I got to know about the US universities and the programs that they offered. So I got to know about the flexible curriculum, the good internship opportunity, and the student diversity. And we don't generally find that in India. And that was the main reason for me to choose study abroad, and especially in the US. And so generally, the US universities require students to give an English proficiency test before applying. And we as students have an option for either TOEFL or IELTS. And I chose to give TOEFL because it's a computerized test, and I'll have to sit in front of a computer and give it. And on the other hand, IELTS is taken over a period of 2 days, so it's hard to maintain that mental state for 2 days. Plus, the home edition that I gave, it's safe in this COVID times, so you don't have to go to a center and risk yourself.
Superb, superb. Okay, and what about you, Abhishek? So why study abroad and why TOEFL?
Yeah. So for me, I during my undergrad, I did a bunch of stuff. I worked in both tech roles and non-tech roles, and I decided to pivot careers from engineering to product management. And a grad school certainly helps a lot with equipping me with the right skills as well as the experience by doing projects, collaborating with people. And I chose US specifically because most of the engineering management programs are in the US. The top schools are in the US. And also, I would love to explore a different environment than India, different culture, different study environment. So that's why I chose the US. And talking about TOEFL, again, as Mridul said, we have options like IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo. There's a bunch of English proficiency tests. I chose TOEFL because I had to take the GRE, and both these tests are by ETS. So for me, it would be very easy to like register for the exams and then also take them in the software. Both the screens would be similar. And I don't know, yeah, I didn't even like think about any other exam because my sister took TOEFL and she also prepared for it. So I also went on the same route. And yeah, I took TOEFL at the center because back then, like, I lived pretty close to my test center.
Interesting. So following your senior steps, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so as you both are students, and during these troubled times, we have heard a lot of student queries and even issues about how to juggle between your academics, about your assignments, projects, and your exams, and all of those, right? So you guys have been your latest students, like you are just graduated this year, right? So what was your routine, or what was your process of preparing for the TOEFL exam?
So TOEFL basically requires preparation of about 2 weeks, I would say. And if you prepare good enough for 2 weeks, you're good to go for the exam. TOEFL doesn't require more than 2 weeks. And speaking about my classes, so I was able to give around 3 hours per day, I would say, and that was more than enough for me to prepare for TOEFL. So I was able to easily handle both of my classes and the exam preparation.
Okay, what about you, Abhishek?
Yeah. So for me, I didn't like specifically give a lot of time to preparing for these tests. I scheduled my GRE like 1 week before taking TOEFL, and so all the preparation that I did for GRE, that kind of came in handy in the TOEFL exam. But I remember I took like 2 3 days to familiarize myself with the exam pattern, and to like learn how the marks distribution is, what sections are there, and also just thought about 2 3 tricks that I can use in each section to get good scores. That was like roughly how I prepared. You're muted if you're speaking.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So great. So on an average, for a student, how much time should that student give for preparing for the exam on an overall note? For any for TOEFL specifically, if I would question about, let's 2 hours, 3 hours per day, or per week. So any such numbers?
So I'm assuming that if a student is giving TOEFL, so he would have prepared for GRE earlier. And if a student had prepared for GRE earlier, then the reading sections and the writing sections can be done with great ease for TOEFL. And so if you take GRE, so schedule your TOEFL like 10 days after 10 or 2 weeks, 10 days or 2 weeks after your GRE. So around 2 hours per day, 2 to 3 hours per day of mock tests would easily help you prepare for TOEFL and get a good score.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think adding to that, if like someone's taking like specifically the TOEFL exam and not the GRE, I would say like on an average, if you're studying, if you're putting in 2 to 3 hours per day, then again it really depends on you, like what's your background. A lot of people like are already good at communicating, so they don't have to worry about certain sections. Some people read a lot, so they don't have to worry about reading. But like assuming that the person does not really have much knowledge about these sections, I think it's safe to invest around 2 to 3 weeks maybe to ensure that they do their best, that they familiarize themselves with the exam pattern, and they also practice each and every section, think about how they're going to tackle those questions, plus take a few mock tests. There's a bunch of ETS stuff out there related to TOEFL. So that helps a lot if you're taking the mocks and doing those questions, listening to those um, the listening tasks that are there. So I think that helps a lot. So anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks is a very safe bet to get a decent score.
Okay. So there's one very good point you pointed out, Abhishek, about the preparation, right? So how did you prepare for TOEFL? Like, is there any specific resource, or maybe some people have also given recommendation of watching English series and shows, or reading certain classic novels for increasing the vocabulary and all of those. So do you have any such recommendations, suggestions for the future test takers?
Um, I think well that is a great advice, but I think that like you cannot really start watching movies and series today if your exam is like in 14, 15 days. And you cannot like read novels and build your vocabulary up in just a week. So what I would say is like I mean, if you have time, if you're like going to take the exam in a few months, for sure, start reading, build a habit, start watching series and stuff, watch news, everything in English, of course. But like when you're close to the exam date, then you really need to plan out your days. Like you're going to study, let's say, these paragraphs from this TOEFL material, from this book. And yeah, I think that's how, one should approach. And what I did was I watched some videos on YouTube related to TOEFL, and each and every section I looked at a few sample questions so that I know what to expect. So yeah, if you are going to like study, give your best, and also don't take the test like I did. I studied for 2 to 3 days. I mean, I was doing a lot of stuff back then. I had a lot of projects going on, but yeah, certainly like get your study material, prepare for it.
Got it. Anything to add on here, Mridul?
I would like to mention few resources that are available on YouTube. There's a channel called Noteful. So Noteful is really helpful for speaking and writing tasks. And like I said before, if you are prepared for the theory, then you're good to go for the reading section.
Got it. So, guys, one more point I would like to add from ForeignAdmits. So, as we are the official partners of ETS TOEFL, we will be compiling some of the ETS resources of TOEFL, and we'll be sending you guys uh, to your mail IDs, registered mail IDs, so that you can get more of a kind of a sequenced way of learning through the different kind of sections which will be coming the TOEFL exam. So do check out for your emails after this conference. We would definitely send you some resources which would help you guys out for your preparation. So, so as Mridul, as I said before, you have given both the test center and the home edition based exams of TOEFL, right? So, let's hear about a bit of an overview about the format. So, pretty much, I guess people would be knowing about the format, but let's just give an overview about the TOEFL exam, and then let's hear about what are the do's and don'ts in a home edition based TOEFL test.
Sure. So the TOEFL test has 4 sections, which are reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So the first section is reading, which consists of around 30 to 40 questions. It totally depends on the test that it totally depends on the computer. So either you could get 30 questions or 40 questions. So the duration of the reading section could be around 54 minutes to 72 minutes, and you could get anywhere around 3 to 4 passages and the questions there. So after the reading section, you go on to the listening section where you get around 28 to 38 questions, and the duration is 41 minutes to 57 minutes. So you'll be listening lectures, conversation, classroom discussion, and then answer the questions based on them. So after both of these sections, you get a break of about 10 minutes, both in the center-based test and the home edition. So after you take a break and come back, so you will get the speaking task, speaking section, which has around 4 tasks, and the duration is 17 minutes. So we have to express our opinion on familiar topics and speak based on reading and listening tasks. So you will get a different bunch of reading and listening tasks, and then speak on the basis of that. So after the speaking, the last section is writing, and it's the same as GRE. You get 2 tasks, and you have to write essays based on the question of the prompt that you have been given. So yeah, this is the overview of TOEFL, and when I gave the home edition, there were few do's and don'ts. So in the home edition test, unlike the center-based test where you get a pencil and a paper to write down on your notes. So in the home edition test, you use a whiteboard and a marker or a paper in a transparent polythene type of thing, and you write with a marker. Okay, so you don't have to keep any books around, and try not to look around the screen or anywhere else. Just focus on the screen, the questions, and your whiteboard. Also, you require good internet speed, and make sure that your laptop is fully charged and you have a constant internet connection. And also, you have to sit in a quiet and comfortable place with zero distractions. So yeah, these are some of the do's and don'ts for the home edition.
Got it. Got it. So, Abhishek, so do you want to throw some points on center-based exam as well?
Yeah, for sure. Um, so when it comes to the center-based exam, the first thing that happens is you go on your test date. You are asked to arrive like 30 minutes earlier than your test time, and you should arrive like when you're asked to, so that you can like fill the first. They'll ask you to fill out a form. I think it's a confidentiality form, so you need to fill that out. Then you have to sit on in the like sitting area, and then they call you like they call you in for the exam, and then there's security check. After that, you're made to sit on your computers, right? So coming to different sections, I think that um, for reading, okay, let's talk about reading first. I think it depends. It depends on the person, because a lot of people are like, again, they have been reading, and so it's like it's a day-to-day thing for them. But some people are not that used to reading. Maybe they prefer watching stuff instead of reading books. So what I would say is, like, plan out your TOEFL preparation based on how like what's your level of English in reading, speaking, listening, and writing. um, and also, like, when you're studying for it, then what I would say is try to make a habit of reading these TOEFL paragraphs, and also time yourself. I think that's also important, because you get a fixed time for each section. So time yourself, read a bunch of paragraphs. And a lot of people ask, what resources do we refer to? I think there's plenty of free resources online. There's a lot of content by ATS, but I know some people prefer reading from books. So if you want to do that, you can go for the official TOEFL guides. They're really good. My sister prepared for them, and she also told me to do the same. But yeah, I didn't have the time. I just watched random videos. But this is what I would suggest you. Okay, get some material, get those TOEFL guides, and go through the reading passages. And when you're in the exam, at that time, just look at your screen. And this is something that I would tell you specifically for the speaking section and the listening section. Because a lot of times, okay, let's talk about this. A lot of times what happens is, let's say you're in your a reading section, for example, someone else might be in their speaking section. So they might be speaking out loud. And let's say if you're in the listening section, you're listening to someone, but the person sitting next to you is speaking out very loud. So it gets kind of distracting. Even though there are like, they provide you these noise cancellation headphones at the center. And if you're at home, then obviously like, you don't have to worry about this. Um, but yeah, for that, my advice is try to just look at your screen and don't look around. I know a lot of times like we might just not look at the screen, look around and see, okay, someone else starts speaking, and then you're like, you go like this, right? But that gets very distracting. I remember when I took the exam, a lot of times when I was listening to like when I was on the listening task, I would look around and then I'd be completely lost for like 3 4 seconds, like, okay, what's going on? Then I'd get back in the zone. So this is what I would recommend. For some people, just closing their eyes would work. For some people, looking at their screens would work. But whatever it is for you, you have to find out and do that. And that's why it's important to give that time into preparing for TOEFL and finding out what works for you. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Perfect. That's, I would say, an amazing point, which I would say many of the test takers will actually relate to it. Some even we have heard, as we normally have a conversations or normally talk with ETS team about certain how we can make things easier for a lot of students. So they have also shared some kind of case studies with us as well about different students, what were the problems, what how ETS is trying to solve them out with all of this. So this about the test taker experience of the center based about getting distracted, that's completely eradicated in the home edition. But make sure to have a very private room. So, as Mridul said, that you would need to have a very separate room. So we have got some queries that I do not have a private room, or I share my room with along my relatives or some friends and all. That some scenarios do come across about the sharing stuffs and all, a sharing room and all. So in that case scenario, we would suggest go to some relative's house, go to some friend's house where they have a separate room. Uh, Give the exam peacefully there. Because according to security policies of ETS TOEFL Home Edition, if something any if there is any breach of the security, then the proctor, which would be there, who would be vigilating the exam, they would be getting alert about that, and they would definitely watch out for who from where the alert came from, and they would be asking these questions that where is the sound coming from, or who is there in the background, and all of those, right? So make sure to adhere to those security policies which has been there or prescribed by ETS TOEFL team for the home editions. Okay, because we need to make sure the test have its own integrity in its place. Like for example, as Rudul said, you do not have to have any stuff on your table. It either has to be a whiteboard or a marker or some transparent sheet where you can have your writing paper where you can write it on the marker and rub it out. So you cannot even have a water bottle on your table, which you normally can have in your probably in a center-based exam. Probably Abhishek can correct me if I'm wrong. But in the home edition test, you cannot have all those stuffs on your table. Make sure your table is clean. You only have your laptop, and you do not have anything in your ears, or like it should be clearly visible on the camera. And as Abhishek and Mridul, both of them said, do not look around, or do not just turn around when you're giving the exam, right? Because here the proctor will get alerted and they would ask you questions, and there is a possibility of a security breach if the proctor feels so, right? So make sure all of the securities are taken care of. Uh, we have also gotten certain queries regarding internet connectivity, which Mridul, could you share some points about internet connectivity for the home edition test?
Yes. So EDS assumes that you have a good internet connection, and if somehow for some reason your internet connection is lost, so they give about 10 minutes to bring back the internet connection, or the test will be cancelled, or the proctor may choose whatever he has to do. So yeah, the internet connection is a must, and you have to have a good internet connection.
Right. So, like in the home edition test, I probably guess that they would be giving certain, I would say, a test for your mic and your camera and all of those. So we have gotten some queries regarding the camera and all. So in the home edition test, so do they have these checks for internet or for camera or for microphone and all?
Yes, they do have. So prior to the exam day, one day before the exam day, you have to get your camera and the microphone set. So if you don't have a laptop with good camera or the camera is not working for some reason, then you have to find a laptop in which you can, give the exam.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so I have got one query about your point of if the internet connectivity doesn't come within 10 minutes, what happens next? So just to answer a question, if your internet connectivity doesn't come or there is a power cut or some electric fluctuations which happens which is more than 10 minutes, then yes, your test will be cancelled. But the ETS provides a rescheduling of your exam completely free of cost. So if there is an I would say a genuine case of not giving or not being able to give your exam because of internet or maybe electricity or something like, the ETS provides a flexibility to reschedule exam at completely free of cost, right? So do not have to worry about that. So the proctors are there to help you out. There's also one case study which we found that students are kind of shy or afraid to tell the proctor or tell the invigilator in the center-based exams about what problems are they facing. So there's an earnest request, a sincere request that if you have any sort of problem, or if you want to maybe pick up, if a pen has been fallen down, you need to pick up the pen and all, just raise your hand, go to the proctor, ask the proctor that I have like my pen has fallen down, or maybe something else which you want to say to the proctor. Say that to the proctor, ask him or her about whether I can do it or not, get the approval, and then do it, right? So the proctors are there, invigilators are there to help you guys out. So do not feel shy, do not feel afraid of reaching them out. Okay. So this is one, I would say a request or I would say a suggestion from the foreign admits and foreign admits team where from where we have got this lot of queries about or cases of different students having different problems uh, or face different problems during their test. So make sure to utilize all of the resources which you have at your hand during the test. So yeah, coming back to our question, so we are done with about the test, about our preparation and all. So let's hear about your test taker experience, Mridul. So as you had given both your center based and the home edition. So please share your experience on that on a test taker experience. How did you feel, or how did you
Okay,
like the test?
okay. So I'll share my home edition experience as Abhishek will share his center-based. So, so once I paid my examination fee, I got a confirmation mail, and after the confirmation mail, I was able to select the date and time for the exam as per my comfortability. So once I selected the date and time for exam, I got a confirmation mail again that you have the exam scheduled on this day and this time. So prior to the test day, I'll have to get my camera and my microphone set, and then I have to download a software called Proctor U. So this is something that is different from the test, the center based exam. So once I download the Proctor U software and the ETS official TOEFL software, uh, and then I'll have to join around 15 to 20 minutes before the exam. And once I joined, once I joined before the exam, and I started my Proctor U software. The proctor joined from the other side and gained complete access over my computer, and she or he did some security checks, and told me to show my passport. So I pointed my passport toward the camera, and also I used my phone and started the front camera and showed the screen like this. So to make sure that there's nothing sticked around on my screen. And then I picked my laptop. The doctor told me to pick my laptop and show around all the four corners of the room, and also below my table, and also I had to show my ears, both of the ears, whether I something, if something is there in my ears or not. So yeah, that was before the exam. Then the exam started. It went same as the center based exam, and after the listening section, I got a 10-minute break which I took. I told the proctor that I need a 5 minutes break. So I went to the washroom, drank some water. I came back. So after that, the proctor changed. So he confirmed my identity once again. I had to show my passport again, and the same process is repeated. So I showed all around my room and also below the table, and he started my exam. And yeah, I then gave my speaking and writing tasks. So after the exam, the proctor made sure that I had nothing written on my whiteboard, the confidential policies and all. So once I showed that, the proctor ended my exam, and yeah, that was it.
Okay, got it. There's one question that do we have water in the test process? So, brother, do you want to take the question up?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Do you have water in the test process?
No, no, no. You can drink the water in the 10 minutes break that you get.
This one interesting case study which I remember about this water thing, that during the speaking section sometimes our mouth dries up, right? So sometimes people have trouble speaking, or during the even during sometimes even people recite when they read their sentence or a paragraph, right? So for some reason people kind of have a dry mouth and all of those. So for that, if you are having that kind of a trouble, then make sure to use the 10 minutes break to have water, right? So those 10 minutes break is just for you guys to relax yourself, maybe listen to music, maybe have some water, maybe use your washroom and all of those. But if some people are also there who wants to take the exam at a stretch, so it all depends upon you guys, the test takers, about what format or what that the 10 minutes break is flexible for you guys or not. So do you want to take that, or do not want to take and continue with the exam? It's completely up to the test taker. So this one we have one question: is whiteboard necessary, and if whiteboard with stand is required, or a small whiteboard is required, or enough?
So yeah, as I said earlier, you can use a white paper inside a transparent file and write with a marker. That will work.
Got it. Okay. Yes. So okay. So we are done with most of our. Okay, Abhishek, please. I guess I forgot left out. You please share your experience about it in center base as well, please.
Yes. So I think I shared like the initial few things that happen on the test day. So you go there at your 30 minutes before your scheduled time, and then you have to show your passport to, I think, to enter. Um, and after that, you get your locker keys. You can keep your items in there, your wallet, your phone, or whatever you have. And then you have to fill out this confidentiality form. You fill that out, then you're made to sit and wait, and then you're called in to take the test. And when you walk into those different rooms, first there's a security check, and after that you go to your computers. And one thing that I would say is, right when the test starts, there's like this check that you can do, that the recording, your mic is working fine, you can hear things all right. So make sure you do that like with good care, so that you don't have to fix things later on when the test starts. So yep, so that happens. And after that, first the reading section, I think, and after the reading section there is listening section, and then there's a 10 minutes break. Now here what I would add is, if you need anything, just raise your hand. And if you're like taking the exam, as Mridul said, just ask your proctor, okay? Because it's, I mean, I know a few people might be shy, but come on, like, you'll be going to pursue your studies abroad, right? So you, if you need anything at all, just raise your hand. They're very helpful. I took the exam at the center, and everyone there was super helpful. I remember calling them and asking them to clarify like what to do on the screen. Like it was some I had a doubt. Um, and after that, like in my 10 minutes break, I went to the like this water, the space where I could drink some water. I went to the washroom, and a few test centers might have water bottles next to your computer. So if you have that, that's awesome. But like back when I took the exam last year, I did not have those bottles next to my computer. So I went ahead and yeah, I went ahead, had some water. I went to the washroom. Then I came back. Then the security check happens again. Then you sit on your computer, and then there's a speaking section. And when it comes to speaking, as I already said, that there's a few problems that you get distracted, or um, yeah, you basically get distracted. So what I would say is, again, don't look elsewhere. Focus on your exam, and also when you speak, please don't be like very afraid of how much you're gonna score and things like that. I know that's a genuine worry, but just try to focus on the task at the hand. So when you're speaking, please don't try to speak like this, because then you're gonna sound like a robot. I mean, okay, don't sound like a robot. Sound like you. Just be yourself. Speak out as you would talk with your professors at the university, right? So that's one tip. And yeah, after speaking, there's writing section, and after that you can basically leave. And I see a bunch of questions in the chat, so just let me know if what question can we cover now. um
Yeah, sure.
yeah, yeah,
We'll
so
take those questions up at the last. Yeah.
okay, okay. And yeah, I think that was it. That was like my experience. I got my, I think, reading, listening scores then and there, but the writing and speaking scores are sent to you later. The whole test report is sent to you like a few days later. um, but yeah, my experience was pretty good. And also one thing that I would add is I went for the at center exam because the center was really close to where I live. Okay, but I understand that a lot of people might not be in the same shoes. The test centers might be like pretty far from your home, and in this situation it's really safe and convenient to take the exam at home. Okay, you might have a lot of worries. What will happen if the internet drops? What will happen if, I mean, I don't have like a good connection, and I don't know how it will go. I know, I understand all that. But trust me, like the process is super smooth. A few friends of mine took the at-home test. Mrudul took the at-home test. So it's super convenient. It's just like the real test. There's literally no difference. It's just that you're more convenient at your home. Okay, so yeah, just don't worry. Go ahead and take the exam. Just do whatever's the most convenient for you, I guess.
Perfect. Perfect. So, okay, let's now come. What happens after the test? So you basically get kind of your tests, and like you will be sending your scores to different universities, right? So, what? Tell me about that.
So unlike GRE, so in GRE, you usually send the score after the exam, but in Toefl it's different. You have to select the universities prior to the test day, and after completing your exam, it's up to you to report the scores or not. So you won't be able to select universities once your exam ends. You have to select the universities prior to your test day. So it's unlike GRE.
Okay. Okay. So, just a very, I would say, not a relatability question to Kudo TOEFL, but what are the universities did you send your scores out?
So as far as I remember, I sent my scores to NYU, Northeastern, UT Dallas, and University of Illinois at Urbana.
Okay. Okay. And what about you, Abhishek?
I kind of don't remember, but yeah, I think I sent my scores to one Cornell and Stanford. Like these are my top two programs, and then I sent my scores to, I think, NYU and Stony Brooks. And also, what I would say is, please spend time into this university shortlisting process, because you have to fill these universities before taking the TOEFL exam, right? So
Yeah,
do that, because see, I sent my scores to those two schools that I didn't even end up applying to. So yeah, do your research in advance, and send your scores to the schools that you'll be actually applying to. Um, and yeah, that's it. And also, I mean, if you do like select schools that you didn't do too much research on, and then you like to add more schools, you can always do that after you get your report. You can add more schools, you can send your school, use your schools to any school, really, any university, and you can do that anytime. So yeah, don't worry about like
perfect,
really like, yeah, those schools.
perfect. So there is just one myth which has been kind of tagged to TOEFL, that TOEFL is only accepted in the US. Okay, so I have heard a lot of students in our, even in our community talking about that. No, TOEFL is not accepted in Europe and it's only accepted in US and all. So so let's talk facts here. So uh, tell me, what are your opinions about the acceptability of the TOEFL? So we did had this kind of question probably in the middle, but still at the last. But still, let's have a brief discussion about that as well.
No, no, this is a pure myth, and I would say that TOEFL is accepted worldwide. A few of my friends have actually applied with TOEFL in Europe and in Australia also. So you can apply to any country with TOEFL scores, to Canada, Europe, UK, and Australia, and obviously US also.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, I agree. It's a total myth that even I've heard it a lot, that students, they go to the US or Canada, they should take TOEFL, others should take some other test, but that's totally a myth. And every single school, I mean, TOEFL has 100% acceptance rate. I mean, every school accepts TOEFL. There's like 11,000 universities, so you don't have to worry at all about TOEFL, this or that. Just take the exam, and every university, like any potential university you'll apply to, will be accepting TOEFL for sure.
Got it. Got it. So there's also I would like to share about one thing about. I do not know where this query came up. In some one of our previous webinars, that there has the university gives a preferential treatment to certain language tests and all. So that's completely not true. Universities completely gives weightage to every and each of the language proficiency exam. So the main objective of the language proficiency exam is to make university aware about, yes, you are capable enough to understand about whatever teaching should be done in the university. That is what it's called. It's a language proficiency test. It's to make the students aware about, yes, the student is capable enough to study in an abroad university, right? So it's completely untrue about universities giving any preferential treatment to any test. Okay, every test has equal weightage. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
yeah,
adding to that, yeah, you can, there's no preference of one test over the other. And also, like, since it is English proficiency test, okay, they just need to check that you will be able to pursue this program at that university or school, right? So all these universities have their own criterias, like you need to get, let's say, 100 on the TOEFL for this program, or this much in this exam. You just need to score above that. Like it's not like if you get more score, like if you get more scores in some other test and you get 101 in TOEFL, it's not like they'll give preference to the other like the student that took the other exam. There's nothing like
Yes,
that. You
TOEFL
just,
is
it's a
TOEFL is
proficiency
just a
test.
cutoff, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you just have to get across that cutoff and you'll be fine. So it doesn't really matter which test you take.
And as far as I have researched, most of the universities have TOEFL cutoff as 79. Some have 89, and the maximum TOEFL cutoff that I have seen is for UIUC, which is 150, also for deworking. So I don't think more than 103 is required anywhere.
got it, got it. So Abhishek, this is one question about scholarships. So could you tell about the audience about scholarships? how much do you think are the weightage given to the academic scores?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say it actually depends on the university, because there are a few schools that focus more on the quantitative numbers like test scores, while a lot of like top schools and top programs, they tend to focus on your overall profile. So like if let's say you don't have the best LORs, for example, but you do have good scores in these tests, then for sure that can be helpful for you. um, so yeah, that's what I think. I mean, there's no preference in scores. Like if someone scores 120 or 110, then scholarship won't directly matter on that, because they kind of have a holistic approach to reviewing applications for
Mhm.
scholarships. So yeah, focus on every part of your application, and since it is a holistic review of application, make sure that you're giving your best in all different parts of your application.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yep.
So let's take some questions up. I guess we have gotten a lot of questions. So there's one question which had come about. Uh, so many people have asked questions about the strategies which you guys have picked up for your TOEFL score. So any more thing you guys need to add? Maybe certain resources or certain things.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Mridul, I
like I
think
said,
I think we
yeah.
can share
You,
like
you go ahead.
yeah, no, I was saying that we can maybe share like section wise tips. So first let's talk about reading section. What were like your strategies or your sort of like hacks you had in mind while taking the reading section?
Yeah. So so during reading, I mainly focused on reading comprehensively and with good focus, and just practice and practice and practice. Find good paragraphs and try to answer the questions, and just read it like you are in it. So for reading, it's the only tip that I would give.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And for me, what I did in the reading section was like like for me, what worked was reading the paragraph really fast once, and then going through it if I need to. Like if I haven't understood something while reading it in one go, then I can go for it, and I made sure that I had that time at the end before like the paragraph goes away. So but for some people, like this might work better, like reading one section two times, or like reading two lines and then reading them again, so that you really understand what is in there. But yeah, what I did was I read the whole paragraph first, and then sort of like comprehended it in my mind, summarized it, and then if I missed something, I would quickly go through it again. So that was like how I went, uh, how I attended the reading questions. And next, in the listening one, I think we do get the sheets right in TOEFL where we can maybe write something. So when you're attending the listening section, what I did was I wrote down some points that I could later on look at while solving those listening questions, right? So and there's also like a few things that you can do, like for example, you don't need to remember the names of places or the year in which the event took place, things like that. But yeah, for sure, like if there's something that you think you could just note down real quick while you're listening, then that helps a lot. So that's how I went uh, in the
yeah.
listening
And
section. What about you?
mostly people are concerned about the speaking section. Like you can give reading and listening online, and get a judgment about your scores. But what about your speaking and writing tasks? So I have a very good resource which is called Toefl Bank. So I read it on Reddit, I think, and when I explored Toefl Bank, so they have an AI scorer, artificial intelligence scorer. So once you complete your speaking section, within 1 or 2 minutes, they rate your speaking skills. And the marks that I got during my TOEFL bank, the mock test that I gave, they were exactly the same as what I got during my TOEFL exam. So TOEFL Bank is a very good resource for mock tests. So you guys can also explore it.
Yeah. And in the speaking section, I guess what like as I shared before, like make sure that you speak as if you would talk to someone instead of just sounding like a robot or going really fast and worrying about the time limit that you have. And I think that can be like improved with practice. So just take your stopwatch out or record yourself speaking for 1 minute. And yeah, according to my experience, I mean, I know students might worry about what if we run out of time, so that's why for that what you could do is just when you're reading the topic that you need to speak on, note down like 2 3 points that you'll cover, and you see that timer on your screen. So just look at that, and when the time is about to end, have this last line ready that you're going to speak and then end the task. So that kind of like summarizes whatever you're saying, and that helps a lot. So yeah. And how about writing section?
So I did my writing. I actually prepared some templates and how to approach the writing section. I watched no full videos as I said, and there's one more YouTube channel called GRE GMAT. So that guy has around 30 minutes of videos of both of the tasks for writing, and he prepares you well for the writing task. And then you can practice writing on TOEFL Bank. So they rate your uh, writing section also. So yeah.
Yeah, those templates, they're super helpful. But also I would
Yes.
say, like, when you do see those templates, make sure that you practice at least 2 to 3 topics before the exam, because I remember not doing that, and that's why I scored like the least in my writing section. I got around 24. Because I didn't practice at all. I just looked at the templates. But yeah, what you can do is go through those templates and also try writing some like sample TOEFL questions and see how you are at it. And I see someone just asked, what should we do after recording ourselves? Um, so what I would do is just listen, like play it back and listen to it, and just make sure that I would just try to see how I sound. I mean, am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? And yeah, one tip that just came to my mind is don't be afraid to use filler words, like right, such words. Don't be afraid to use them, because you don't need to, because see, you have to sound natural, right? They're not going to they're not going to take marks away from you just because you paused for a minute. So that's what I would say. You can always like speak with a flow naturally. You can use filler words, that's completely fine. And when oh yeah, sorry, we were talking about writing section. I deviated to the speaking section. Yeah, for writing, go through those templates, practice writing sample questions and topics, and you should be fine. You don't really need to worry much about it. Also, yeah, one more tip. When you're done with the writing section, like when you've written uh, one task, then what you should do is go through it again to see if you made any mistakes. Like that is something that you should do, and that's why make sure you have your time separated in your mind, so that you keep last 2 3 minutes to just go through it and correct any mistakes that you might have made. So yep, that's pretty much it about all the sections.
Great, perfect. So, yeah, there's one question by Anushka that can you please address the question of getting the TOEFL marks sent to universities? Does it take a fixed amount of time, and what happens if I write the exam much before applying to university? I guess we have already covered this question up.
Yeah. You don't need to worry about your scores reaching the university. And even if you've taken your exam like a few months back, as long as your scores are valid, which I think generally for the schools that I applied to, it was I think last 5 years maybe. I don't really
TOEFL
remember.
for
Or
TOEFL
last
it's
two
two
three
years.
years. 2 years,
2 years.
right? Yeah, so make sure that your test is like in that time period. As long as it is, you're completely fine, and you don't need to worry about your scores being sent to the school. You always have the checklist on your school application where you can see that your scores have arrived or not.
Perfect. So there's one question by Khadija is what if someone has a certificate from American Embassy regarding taking courses in English? So let me take that question up. That it depends upon the universities. Some of my colleagues have applied to US or UK universities with their universities letter that the courses instructed or the courses which they took were in English. So some universities do accept those kind of letters from the universities. So the, so you might have to reach out to universities to make sure that those are acceptable or not. So do the headsets have wires or do they have wireless? And can we take notes when we run out of them? Can we ask for more notes when we run out of them? So
I
I guess
think I replied to these questions in the
yes.
chat.
So
Um,
okay,
yeah, I wish they were wireless, but no, they're not. They're wired, but like you don't have to worry about the length of the wire or anything. It's going to be on the side. It won't distract you at all. And yeah, you can ask for extra sheets. Just raise your hand, and they'll get you some extra sheets.
okay, so is there a waiting time if you want to retake the test after a fail?
I'm not sure about this one. I am pretty sure that it's on the website, so the candidate can check it himself.
Cool, cool.
Read it.
So, can you also brief us on the thesis or paper publication? Is it mandatory to get an admit?
No, not at all. It only adds on to your profile, and it may make you eligible for scholarships or research assistantships or teaching assistantships. But obligations are not required for getting that. It
Okay,
adds on to your profile. Yeah.
okay, got it. Avish, do you want to add something to that?
Um, yeah, what I would say is look at the requirements of your university, your program requirements. Like if let's say if you're going for PhDs, right, then for sure published papers and things like that, thesis, all those they help a lot, right? But when you're going for masters, then also I would say it depends on your program. Like a lot of core MSCS programs are too research heavy. Like I know looking at Brown's and Princeton's MSCS programs, and they were very, very research heavy. So if you have that prior research experience, it can surely like have a really good impact and impression on the professors. But if you don't have that, obviously like you can talk about your projects and other things that you've done in that field.
Perfect. So we have just two questions, last questions. One is about what kind of a profile you guys have and what are the admits, what are the courses will you guys be pursuing? And the second question is where your leisure activities were also in sync with your TOEFL preparation, and what were those activities if it was in sync?
Yeah, Mridul, do you want to go
Okay.
first?
Yeah, yeah, you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll go. So the first part was profile.
Yes.
It
So
were they asking about my profile?
yes, what kind of profile you have, and what is the course which you'll be pursuing in the university?
Oh, okay. So I applied to majorly engineering management programs and MIS programs, which is Masters in Information Systems. Like all, so those programs are like sort of like the combination of engineering and management, so like business and engineering. And about my profile, I had 106 in TOEFL, 319 in GRE, and my GPA at the time was 8.81, roughly 8.9 on a scale of 10, or 3.79 on a scale of 4. And I had a good amount of extracurricular activities. I had around 5 to 6 internships. I worked with Google. I worked with Zenota byte coding blogs. Um, and yeah, I had like internships in the field of software development. I used to work as an iOS developer. And I also had my own startup. So that kind of helped me in my SOP as to why I'm applying to these management programs. But yeah, that was roughly it. I had a few awards and TEDx talk as well. That was roughly my profile.
Yeah, Mridul, please share your profile and the course that you'll be pursuing as well.
Yeah, so I'll be pursuing engineering management, and my TOEFL, as I said earlier, it was 105, and I had a GRE of 310, and my GPA was 7.52 when I graduated on a scale of 10. And I did my undergrad from Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore, Mechanical Engineering. And yeah, I had a couple of internships and a good amount of projects. So I guess that helped me in securing my admission.
Okay, perfect. And last question is, where do you guys had any leisure activities which were in sync with the TOEFL preparation?
Yeah, so during internship, I used to watch a lot of web series and movies. So I got accustomed to the the US accent. So otherwise, before the exam, I prepared, and yeah,
Yeah. And for me as well, Netflix helped me a lot in preparing for TOEFL. I watched a lot of series, I watched a lot of movies. Plus, like I've been listening to rap music for a while, so it's like it's easy for me to like get the words right away when I'm listening to anything in English. But yeah, movies, music, they helped me a lot. And I remember like seeing a few words on the screen while reading the passage and recalling that part of that series where the same word was used. So yeah, I mean, it helps a lot. Movies help a lot. Um, yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So great, guys. I guess we are at the end of the session. Great discussions, great questions. Just one more point, which I would like to add that all of the registered participants, whoever is giving the TOEFL exam in the next 3 months, do drop us a mail. We would be sending them a $10 TOEFL voucher as we are the national partners of ETS TOEFL. So please feel free. We would be sharing one, as I said, the resources list to you, to the registered participants, and please do reply over to the mail that yes, I will be taking the TOEFL exam in this state or in this month, and we'll be happy to provide you guys with a TOEFL voucher. So with that being said, so we are at the end of the session. Great session. Thank you guys for taking up time. I understand we are taking a session on a Sunday, so sorry to waste 1 hour of your free time. But it has been definitely a great session. I loved it, and looking forward to hearing more success stories from the universities where you have gotten athletes.
Thank you so much for inviting us. And also thank you to everyone who attended on a Sunday and you're here listening to us. That's awesome. It shows that you're passionate. Now go ahead, take the exam and give your best. Good luck to everyone.
thank you, Saurabh, for this wonderful opportunity. It was great to share my journey, and
Sure,
good to
sure,
see you, Abhishek. Hope
sure,
to connect.
absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, guys, thank you. Have a happy weekend. Bye bye.